What is up, my Lorcana Goons, and welcome back to the Lorcana Goons channel. You're watching the Monday weekly market watch. I'm filming this in the morning, bright and early, 6:50 a.m. because I gotta go to work right now. So I'm not gonna take too much time, but I do want to say thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're going to be at DLC Seattle this weekend, look out for me, look out for Zach, because we're going to be there. We're going to be competing to make it to the top. I want to be a Disney Lorcana champion, but let's go over these card prices first, because we like to talk about meta trends, card prices, and Lorcana news. First chapter, booster boxes are getting expensive this week. We talked about this on Friday over the weekend, how they were more than 200 bucks again. 220, 230 is what they were selling around in early mid-September, and throughout October they've been pushing that 250 price range, right? And lowest verified today is Poke Beach Shop for 275 now, and then after that it jumps to 299 and 99 by Wasted Days. So there's not that many first chapter booster boxes available for less than 300 today. Over the weekend there was a variety of boxes less than 300. We had some for 240, 250, 260, 270, all of those selling throughout the weekend. There's multiple sales from this weekend. It's looking like more than 10 at least. So first chapter booster box is still on the move, very, very popular. And again, we don't know if they're going to get reprinted. They haven't said anything. They said they would tell us if they're going to stop printing them, but they have not said that yet. So take that for what you will. Buy at your own risk. I want to go over some cards that are trending. Diablo, Devoted Herald Enchanted, is still pretty expensive this week, still selling for more than $200. 220 is the lowest verified by TNT and Pokey to Go. Reminds me of Hot to Go, awesome song. But yeah, the Diablo Devoted Herald coming into the meta, Emerald Steel coming into the meta in the last month or so as like one of the best decks of the format. And people are starting to play with Enchanted rares now, so I do be seeing the Enchanted Diablos at my locals, and I think it's pretty cool. More than $200 is nice, especially if you're still opening up Ursula's Return, which the booster boxes sell for really cheap. So if you pull an Enchanted Diablo, that's your money back plus. But yeah, Diablo making the biggest impact ever in the meta per usual. I don't really know why people thought this was not going to be like such an amazing card like post Bucky. Like it's still Emerald's like key draw engine. So no surprise there that they're still selling for more than 200. Along Came Zeus has been going up in price in the last month or so. From the end of September to middle October, it's gone up about 10-ish dollars. Lowest verified is going to be Snapkeep at 133. And it kind of sticks around that 130 price range. Some recent comps are 150 for two of them, 134, 130, 140 from like in September. So they could go back up to 140, I think. I think the issue is a lot of people are not playing Along Came Zeus just yet, and especially in Emerald Steel, you don't really see this card played as much. I think you see this card played more in Amber Steel, at least from what I can tell. So well, I wonder if this will get included in the Emerald Steel package, but this is a staple in Lorcana, and like this doesn't ever drop below 100 bucks anymore. So this is for sure an enchanted rare that I keep my eye on very often. I tend to want to buy these in a lot because people ask for these a lot for me. Finders Keeper enchanteds. These, wow, the last time we saw these in on Friday, they were around $60 to $70. Prior to that, they were selling for around $40-ish dollars, and now the lowest verified is $122 by the Nerd Merchant. Wow! In just one weekend, y'all have listed your prices to almost double of the last comp. Not necessarily double the last comp because that would be 160, but 120 is not far off, right? And so listing, so just giving you a heads up, if you list a card, I mean, obviously these listings have probably been up. I don't know how long these were updated, right? But if you list a card that's dang near double the most recent comp, odds are it's not going to sell. You probably want to get it close to that recent comp number. But we'll probably see some more listings closer to that $80 range because the most recent sale is $79.99, and that was yesterday. Before that, day before that, we had one for $75, 75, 75, 63, and before that, all the ones that were less than 60 sold out. 43, 40 bucks. Wow. So people buying this card for $40 and now listing it for $100. Again, I don't know if it's going to sell for $100, but even if you bought it at 40 and you want to list it for 80, doesn't sound too bad in my opinion. But there is hype behind this card. Shout out Ed Chu, who won a DLC Fort Worth, if I'm not mistaken. He posted his Ruby Amethyst list, and he's also playing Finders Keepers. I obviously don't know if he's gonna play it at Seattle. This is a card that a lot of people are on right now, though, and just giving you a heads up. The metas do change very frequently in Lorcana, so I would not be surprised if by the time Azurite C comes out, which is in about less than a month, we're definitely going to see a difference in what people choose to play in Ruby Amethyst, maybe. It's a good card though. I think the concept is really like against like Emerald Steel or against decks where you're like pacing back and forth, like you're trading tempo and you're slowing the game down a lot. Top decking this card if you have more than 5 ink is crazy. You know what I mean? Because you can actually draw 3 and then do more stuff for your turn, and it's not hard to get past 5 ink with Ruby Amethyst nowadays. But you don't need the enchanted if you just want to play the card. It comes in common, uncommon. Sorry, it comes in non-foil, foil, and it's also a league promo, which is funny. So that's the thing too. If you want a nice version of this card, you don't need the enchanted. You can get the league version as well. Before we finish up our enchanted news roundup, I want to go over the Mirabo Madrigal that has been selling for less than $40 now. Lowest non-verified is $38 with $2 shipping, so that's about $40 on the dot. And yeah, most recent sales are all in that $40 range. Somebody paying $38 for 2 of them, maybe some extra shipping. Lowest verified is $39.99 with the $1.50 shipping. So yeah, people were right. If you speculated with us that this was going to be the least expensive enchanted rare from the set champ series so far, you were right. It's selling for less than $50. The Ursula was even selling for around 100, if not mistaken. Again, these were given to top 8 instead of just top 4. The last set champs they did, the cards were only for top 4, but now it's for top 8. That's 4 more cards per store. And on top of that, every new set champs, it feels like there's more and more stores that become official Lorcana stores, which is awesome. Love to see it. But that means there's more and more set champs tournaments. So if there's more set champs tournaments for the third set champs than there was for the first set champs, there's going to be more cards to go around and more cards to be given as prizes. So not surprising why this is as low as $40. And on top of all that, this is just not a card that's good in the meta. Like, it's not a card that you can realistically play in a deck. And we're starting to see people play with, like, the $200 plus cards in their deck. You know, we've seen people play with giant enchanted Tinkerbells in their deck. So, and people are not afraid to play with enchanted. So, Disney Lorcana, it would be really cool if you started making set champ prize cards. Just well, I guess the cards that you pick for set champs prize cards, it'd be really cool if there were some more impactful cards, some more playable cards. You know, even though Mirabo Madrigal is a legendary, it's not necessarily the best legendary. And if you are a set champion, congrats to you, by the way, not an easy thing to do. You have a mat that's selling or worth around $90-ish, almost $100. Lowest non-verified is 95. Lowest verified is Knives Nerd Corner. Hey, shout out Knives. He has a YouTube channel and Twitter too. And most recent sales are at $100 on the dot, 104, 123. But yeah, there's not that much sales movement on TCG Player for these. On eBay, there's a little bit more, but they sell for even less. So getting 100 for this, I think, is really good. The non-champion mat sells for just a little bit less, around $80 to $90. And honestly, I just don't see these being super like collectible in the future. Even though there is only 2 like per store. Actually, maybe the mat. You know, maybe the non-champion mat. I like the non-champion mat more than the champion mat, just because like I did win one, right? So why would I buy a champion mat? I don't want to feel like a fake champion, so I'd have to buy this one. And looking at the mat, it's really nice actually. So this one does have, I think, some collectability in general. If I won this, I'd probably just hold on to it along with the other mats. This is nicer than the Ursula mat, in my opinion. But that's enough for that enchanted and news stuff. Let's go ahead and talk about some meta cards. Robin Hood, champion of Sherwood, continues to kind of go down in price. Did stabilize a little bit at around this $35 mark. Big Joe's cardboard, lowest verified. Shout out you, because they have 4 of them for you. So you can buy all 4 from one seller, Big Joe's cardboard. And that's very convenient because you don't have to pay extra shipping per seller. So love to see that. Big Joe, honestly, hooking up the community. Yeah, $35 non-foil Robin Hoods is like the best I've seen in a while. And like I said, like usually when formats change, prices do kind of come down. I don't think this will come down less than 35, but if it did come less than 35, I'd be really interested, because I don't have a playset of Robin Hoods right now. Cold foils are selling for $45+. Top Cut Chicago has the lowest verified for almost $46. So it's really nice to see that the card prices have stabilized to the point where the cold foils are $10 more than the non-foils for this card. Diablo Devoted Herald, this card's still selling for less than $30 if you want to go through some non-verified sellers. The whole first page is non-verified sellers. So, you know, help some sellers out, buy some cards from them. Yeezy's cards here has 94 of them ready to go. Wow, that is a lot. I do want to give a shout out to Fighting Words TCG. He tagged us in this post on Twitter saying beware of Yeezy's cards, though. They bought 4 Clarabelles from them, and all four turned out to be fake. They tagged TCG Player on Twitter, and TCG Player handled it for them. If this ever happens to you guys, by the way, if you ever buy cards and you think they're fake, or and if you find out they are fake or something, TCG Player will always back the buyer. So don't hesitate to submit a claim, get your money back, get a refund, because sometimes it can be a little too good to be true. So shout out Fighting Words. I really appreciate you for putting the community onto this information. You guys maybe if that ever does happen to you, please be sure to contact TCG Player. They will always side with the buyer. They will always, even if you order a near mint card and it comes in damaged or something, they're usually gonna side with the buyer. The seller usually has to take we're the ones that have to take the responsibility for things like that. And and it could have been an accident too. But the point is that if you do ever receive cards that weren't to your liking or what you ordered, hit up TCG Player, man. They get back to you really quick. They actually responded to his tweet and everything, so that was really awesome to see. Sisu Empowered Sibling, this legendary is going to be as cheap as $19, almost $20 today. So almost $20 still for this Sisu. The cold foils are only about $5 more, which is pretty good if you go through a non-verified seller. Shirler's TCG $25, and then Squeaky Sheep also has it for $25. Then it jumps to $30 by KPC Silver Guys store. So $25 seems like a good little discount right there for that card. Daisy Ducks are really cheap right now. They're only about $6 going through Digitamer BF. That's the lowest non-verified, and $7 by Stone Drink Collects. So the reason I bring this up is because Daisy was selling for $10, $15, almost $20 in the beginning of the format. And I get the feeling that's going to happen again at the beginning of next format too. At the beginning of every format, a lot of people switch to Hyper Aggro because it's the easier deck to pilot. And then people start realizing, wait, I know how to beat Hyper Aggro actually. So I'm definitely picking up a lot of Daisies right now just because I think at the beginning of the next format, we're going to see the resurgence of Hyper Aggro again. Maleficent Monstrous Dragon, some first chapter cards that have been very nice this week still, selling for more around $100. Lowest verified is $99 by +1 games. Then the booster box TCG has a very similar price, $97 plus $2 shipping, so about $99. So still selling for around $100 for this cold foil Maleficent Monstrous Dragon from the first chapter. Cold foil B-Preps, which are also from the first chapter, are still selling for more than $35. Lorcana Inkubs has them for $36.50, and then it sticks around that price by BW's Card Store, all AI Collects. Shout out all these wonderful sellers. Most recent sales are $37, $38, $41, $43 for, dang, people were paying more than $40. Okay, so they did come down a little bit. Yeah, $42, $42, $40. So from that $40 price range, they have stabilized a little bit closer to $35-ish. But even if you paid like $40 for this card, it hasn't come down that much. So it's still very expensive, especially if you're someone who was buying them at $15, $20 a month ago. It's a big difference. I personally think that Anna Diplomatic Queens are still pretty expensive for the cold foils today. Lowest verified is $23, $28. These kind of did stabilize from $25, but they haven't come down too much from $25, right? And that worries me a little bit. MTG Cards and Games has them for $23, $28. Personally, obviously, again, after this DLC, we have about a month before Azurite Sea comes out. There's only 1 weekend left of set champs. That little gap where there's no DLCs, no set champs, what are people going to do? You know what I mean? There's not a lot of tournaments going on. There's going to be kind of a dead space for Lorcana. I think people are really going to sell their cards too, especially as they're preparing for the new format and thinking what can I play? So I wouldn't doubt it if a card like Anna, not that it becomes not relevant, but I would get the feeling that people might say, I'm going to take this card out of my deck, or they're going to start asking themselves, do I really need this card? So this is kind of expensive for this cold foil. I personally don't want to buy any of these in. I'd rather just get rid of them in this time, right? Especially because it's an uninkable too. Cold foil Tinkerbell selling pretty cheap today, around $20, $18.72 by the lowest non-verified Bobby Pokey MTG, and then Curiosity has them for $15 with $5 shipping, so about $20 on the dot for that first chapter cold foil. Some other cheap cards right now are Queen's Castle. I think this card's still super relevant, and since October, it's come down from September, it's come down from $10 to as low as $6.50 with $1 shipping by Outcast Dimension. They have 2 of them for you too, actually. Multiple sellers have multiple of this card, so very convenient to buy a whole playset if you want to get it through maybe Squeaky Sheep or Fancy Cardboard TCG over here because they have multiple listings. Yeah, this card was $12, $13 at its peak. Right now, a lot of people don't really they don't want to play Ruby Amethyst, it almost feels like, because it has a bad matchup against Green Steel. But I think Queen's Castle is such a great card. I don't think this card is ever going to be bad, at least not for a while. So to see it less than $10, that's just like a green flag for me. You know what I mean? Like if people come up to me at the booth, which you can visit me at in Carlsbad Ninja Exchange on Sundays and Saturdays, and they have this card, I'm very inclined to want to like pick it up for our inventory because it's a card that's always in demand, and the fact that it's less than $10 right now is very strong price in my opinion. Even the cold foils for this are like only $12, which is crazy. Yeah, a 1433 actually. Lowest verified, Old World, Arizona. Shout out you. Ariel Spectacular Singer cold foils are $20 still. Lowest verified, CNS Gaming, and they stick around that $20 range for the first couple listings on the page. Let It Go cold foils also going up this month a little bit higher to almost $8. Fancy Cardboard TCG, lowest verified is $7.35 for your cold foil Let It Go. So very nice to see there. I like first chapter cards doing the pumps. Love to see that. Prince John, Greediest of All. This card is the non-foil, by the way. It just keeps going up and up and up. Everyone's really hopping on that Emerald Steel wave, it feels like. I mean, I don't know. Let me know how you guys feel about the tournament scene right now, but I haven't gone to too many locals lately, but I'm terrified that at the DLC Seattle, it's going to be like 30% blue steel. I mean, sorry, 30% Emerald Steel. I would not be surprised. Lowest verified for the Prince John non-foil is now $4.47 with $1.27 shipping, and then it goes to $4.95, $4.99 with that extra shipping cost. So you're gonna have to pay around almost $6 now for your Prince John if you want to get it online. You can go through a non-verified seller who has it for $3.73 with $1.27 shipping, but that's still $5. This is a minimum a $5 non-foil rare, and the cold foils are $15 minimum. Heroes Quest, lowest verified, they got 3 of them for you. Shout out you. Cinderella Ballroom Sensation selling for almost $5 again, which is nice. Underground Games has it for $4 with $1.27 shipping, and then some non-verified sellers have it for $2.95 with $1.27 shipping. So about $4 to $5, which is pretty cool if you have these in your arsenal. And wow, the cold foils aren't that much more expensive. They're only $6 with $1.27 shipping. So from $4 to $6, that's not a big difference for a cold foil. You're only paying about $2 more, my goons. I definitely recommend that one. Elsa Fitzspirit is a card that I personally am very proud of because this is a starter deck card, and it keeps its like $5 price point. So having these like in your inventory is always really cool. In your trade binder too, a lot of people ask for these. The cold foils are actually like $7, which is great, and that comes in the starter deck. So you're getting a $7 value in the starter deck, which is nice. Alongside that pack, Lorcana Incubus has them for $7. Lowest verified for your Elsa Fifth Spirit, which is also a very good out to Diablo. My only issue is that this doesn't come down until turn 5, so I'm playing 2 of this and 2 Teeth and Ambitions in my Ruby Am deck. Speaking of Rubiam, friends, on the other side, cold foils are still $5. These have always stayed $5. Since like they became super relevant after the first chapter, and yeah, I'm not surprised to see them still $5. I need a playset myself, but the reason I bring it up is because cards like Magic Broom are not at $5 yet. But this is like a mandatory card in Ruby Amethyst, and I remember when this card first came out, I straight up said, "Get your cold foils, get your cold foils." And people are gonna start playing this in Ruby Am, and it took a while, but since July, from being $1 to October, now they're $3 at least. Lowest non-verified is Wilder Gaming, $2.70 with $1.27 shipping. They have 2 of them for you right there. That's pretty good. Then it jumps to the verifieds. Meta Breakers $4, Dragon Loft $2.79. So it's about a $3 to $4 cold foil, and I wouldn't doubt it if it gets to that $5 range, like Popsicle or Friends on the Other Side, for example. These are commons that are obviously very easy to find on the non-foil market, but cold foils they do jump up a little bit. Interesting, Popsicles actually come down in price, and I feel like Ruby Sapphire has just been more and more popular in the last month or so. But since September, it was like almost $6 to now closer to $4. Elite Collects has them for $4.20 with $1.27 shipping. Oh, okay, that's for non-verifieds. But the first verified is $6 by Shazes. Okay, so it makes sense. So Popsicle's like a $6 cold foil. Magic Broom is still really cheap. Friends is like $5+, and I wouldn't be surprised if something like Hideway also goes up eventually in price. Hideway being a very impactful card right now in Sapphire decks. You want to play a card like this or Cusco to get rid of locations, and this is an uncommon right now. It only sells for around 95 cents with $1.27 shipping by some of the non-verified sellers. A dollar. Verified sellers already have it for almost $2 to $3. So maybe you want to start picking some of these up as for your staple inventory right now while you can, before they end up being Friends on the Other Side or Popsicles and they're like $6, right? Real quick, somebody somebody pointed out to me that the Mufasa Ruler of Pride Rock, getting this at PSA 10 sells for a lot, actually. Check this out. On the 18th, somebody bought one for $850 PSA 10. On the 20th, somebody bought one for $890. Just a couple days ago, this was another one. This one on the 20th sold for $650 in a number of 41 bids. Wow. So if you have a Mufasa Ruler of Pride Rock, maybe consider getting a graded a 10, or getting a graded, right? You can't choose a number, but getting a graded, maybe it comes back at 10, and you end up with like an $800 card. That's pretty awesome. Huge shout out to 20 Lore Savage, who came to the booth yesterday to point that out to me, and his homie Jeremy. You guys are awesome. But that's going to be all for this Monday Market Watch. I got to call it a day. I hope you guys have an awesome week. Please look out for us at DLC Seattle. It's going to be a little hard to get some of the content out because I'm going to be working and then I have my flight on Thursday. But thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe if you are a Lorcana Goon, because it does support the channel. Can't wait to see what happens with all of these meta cards as we enter the Azurite C format in a month or so. And I really want to see what happens with these first chapter booster boxes. Let me know what you guys think. Are we done printing? Are we waiting for Ravensburg to say officially that we're done printing? I know I am. But until then, remember, my goons, stay tuned to Lorcana Goons, and we'll see you goons next time.